You think the coronavirus is gonna kill you? I've got something far more deadly. Other people. This week, I'm gonna line up 6 former NFL players who were convicted of murder. I'll tell you about 2 of them who are actually serial killers, and it's your job to pick them out of the lineup. So you ready to hear some pretty gruesome stories? Then let's get to it! Come on in. The first former NFL player serial killer has admitted to murdering 7 people. 6 of those killings, he said, were carried out on orders from his cult leader, while the 7th was just a panhandler who annoyed him by persisting to ask for money and cigarettes. He said he just killed him and threw him in the water, the stone-cold bastard. His cult leader taught that they were the superior race, and demanded murders of the race that he perceived as the most inferior, often insisting that his members bring back fingers, ears, or heads of victims as proof of their deeds. On one occasion, the serial killer and another member of the cult were sent out on a hunt to kill a person of that inferior race. They walked the streets for hours, bypassing several unwitting candidates, until coming upon a man passed out in a car in the parking lot of a bar. They pulled out their knives and repeatedly stabbed the unconscious man in the chest. Then they cut off one of his ears, but immediately dropped it in the dark and lost it. So they cut off the other ear and brought it back to their leader, who was thrilled with their endeavor. They were excused from their usual cult chores the next day, so in celebration, they went to the movies. I wonder what movie you go see after you stab a man in the chest and cut off his ears. This cult has been blamed for at least 23 murders, using numerous methods of killing, including beating, shooting, hanging, burning, stoning, and decapitation. Before all this dude was drafted by the Cardinals and played in only a couple of games for them before being released, allegedly for issues involving drugs. He went on to play a season in the Canadian Football League, splitting time between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and then spent a couple weeks as a member of the Raiders. He played his college ball at Cal, despite failing to graduate high school. Cal! So, which one of these assholes could he be? Got your pick? Remember, the guy's totally racist. Okay, time to reveal his identity. Robert Rozier. Oh! Y'all thought it was the white devil, didn't you? Well, it's the black guy, bitch. I bet y'all didn't think black guys could be racist. Run that shit on the news. Even after admitting to killing 7 people, Rozier got his prison sentence reduced. That after he testified in court against his cult, but then, years later, found his ass back in prison for likely the rest of his life for writing bad checks, the dumbass. Okay, we'll line up the murderers again, but I must warn you, you might want to hide the kids for this next one, because we're gonna ante up the gruesome. And it's gonna get a tad bit sexual. Our next former NFL player serial killer has only been convicted of 1 murder, but has been linked to 18, and is suspected of killing up to 44, and is also suspected of committing at least 60 unsolved rapes. It all started when he was arrested for indecent exposure while in high school. Obviously a football star, his coaches helped conceal the incident to prevent him from being ousted from the team. After playing college ball at Portland State, he was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, but was cut from the team during training camp because he couldn't stop showing off the junk. Soon afterwards, he returned home and began a string of robberies and sexual assaults on women by knife point, which eventually led to a 10-year prison sentence. But he only served 4 years. He got out of prison in the best physical shape of his life. So, logically, he mailed nude photos to Playgirl in hopes they would consider him for a spread. And they did, but ultimately never brought him in for a shoot. Then the killing spree began. His first victim, a woman he knew since childhood, was raped, stabbed, and bludgeoned to death in her apartment. The victim's family provided police with his name and they questioned him, but didn't press charges due to lack of evidence. Several years later, however, DNA testing linked him to this slaying, as well as a slew of many others. His second and third killings occurred 7 weeks later. A girl he knew in college and her guy friend were shot execution style in her apartment. Again, police questioned him, but got nowhere. Then, over the course of the next several weeks, the dude went on a rampage that included multiple armed robberies, sexual assaults, beatings, and murders. All of this taking place in multiple cities across 3 different US states, all the victims being women and girls, tragically from ages 37 down to 8. So, which one of these sick is the sickest of them all? The one I've been describing, obviously, who, thankfully, is serving a life sentence in prison. Remember, he thought he was hot enough for Playgirl. Ready for the reveal? Randall Woodfield, the White Devil. He's best known as the I-5 Killer, as all of his mischief took place within a few miles of the freeway's route in the Pacific Northwest, aka the most depressing place on Earth. And get this, the piece of shit's life sentence began in 1981, and since then, the bastard's gotten married 3 times! What the hell is wrong with you women? I'm a free man who wouldn't hurt a fly and I can't get a date. This guy's in prison for busting their skulls and he's got all the chicks fighting over him. Come after me, I'm good looking. Anyways, did y'all pick out the 2 serial killers? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you're under 60 and in good health and still worried about the coronavirus, I got something else far more deadly for you. Cars.